the John Force 16-time funny car champion.
Hey guys, it's Justin Ashley, driver of the Phillips Connect Toyota Top Fuel Dragster.
Hi, I'm Robert Height, 3-time funny car champion.
I'm Kyle Koretsky, driver of the Lucas Oil Chevy Camaro.
I'm Dallas Glenn, driver of the Radford System Pro Stock Camaro.
And you're watching Inside the NHRA.
And you're tuned in to Inside the NHRA.
You are watching Inside the NHRA.
I tell you what, this is Anton Brown, I'm a great Top Fuel World Champion, and stay tuned in to Inside the NHRA.
If you want to be entertained, this is the show, and Darren is the guy to do it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see behind me, we are live from iconic In-N-Out Burger Pomona drag strip. Do not adjust your screens. We are not the iconic duo Steve Evans and Dave McClellan. It's Darren Williams Jr. and Dave W. But this is NHRA Today on Inside the NHRA, streaming live here this morning on Competition Plus, American Hot Rod Entertainment, and the Dave W. YouTube and Facebook channels, and to go along with the Monday Morning Racer Facebook page. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is one of the greatest days of the year. It is Championship Sunday in the NHRA, the final day of the season. Championships are on the line, and we are here to break it all down for you guys and get you guys geared up and set for an amazing day, an amazing Sunday here from Pomona, California. Like I said, I'm Darren Williams Jr. along with Dave W. Make sure to like this show, share this show, and let everybody know, hey, there wasn't any qualifying on FS1 so far this weekend. We're the first ones to bring you guys qualifying recaps. So share this show and let everybody know we're breaking down all the action from the In-N-Out Burger Pomona NHRA World Finals from Pomona Drag Strip. And Dave, qualifying was amazing.
Yes, it sure was, man. What a couple of days that it was for all the pro categories. Kind of thought Erica was going to end up being the champ on Saturday. Greg Anderson really turned up the wick and got enough bonus points to prevent that from happening. Gage Herrera sealed the deal as we all expected that he would. But wow, Funny Car and Top Fuel has played out dramatically as we thought it would. And the ladders going in today is going to set up one epic championship race day. And I can't wait for it. I wish I was there with you, but that's okay. Still be cheering from home and enjoying the show.
And like I said, this is the calm before the storm. In a few hours, in a T minus 3 hours, these stands are going to be filled up, and they're going to be, granted a great championship battle in both nitro classes, Top Fuel and Funny Car, because there's a lot of guys still alive and have a chance at the championship here on Championship Sunday and the final day of the season. So let's not keep the people waiting, Dave. Let's jump right into the highlights of Top Fuel Eliminator, and let's get right into it, man.
Here we go with the first championship contender. Going back to Friday night, you'd have to go with Justin Ashley, who is the outside shot. He runs his best time of the weekend Friday night, 368.2, 334.73, and it gets him 8th in the field. 8th. He's the lowest qualified of all the 5 championship contenders. Moving on to Leah Pruitt. She made also a 367 run on Friday. Here she comes out Saturday night, Q4, goes even better, 367.4 at 336.40 miles an hour. And that gets her 6th in the list. That's ridiculous. Now, also in Q4, move on to the next championship contender, Doug Coletta, 366.6. That gets you 5th in the field at 333. But it still gives him enough points to close in a little bit more on Steve Torrance's lead. Move on to Mike Ashley, the next championship contender. He was actually at the bottom of the list and could potentially set a first-round matchup with one of the championship leaders, but he improves to a 366.3, which gets him 4th in the field at 332 miles an hour. One of the monster runs from Friday night qualifying, session number 2, Steve Torrance, Doug Coletta. This was the run that I thought was going to be number 1. The throwdown run, 364 with a 1 at 335 miles an hour. The Capco crew really laid it down. But everybody's surprised when we get to Q4 on Saturday. Austin Prock comes out. He matches the low ET of the season, 3.636, 332.92 miles an hour to pick up his second number one qualifier of the season and third of his career. And wow, who would have thought that the championship contenders would have not been towards the top that they were? And who would have thought that you could actually go, as Brittany did right next to Austin Prock, 368, and not have lane choice in the first round? She's ninth. You could be 369 and not have lane choice, as Sean Langdon will find out against Billy Torrance in the first round. The Top Fuel field really stepped up here this weekend, and qualifying was epic. And going into race day, it's going to be, I know the conditions are going to be different, but it's going to be a throwdown type day, I think, for sure.
Like you mentioned, Top Fuel is cutthroat here this weekend here in Pomona, California. A 369 only gets you 10th. That is crazy right there. And like you said, I thought that 364 by Torrance on Friday night will hold, but it did not hold, as Austin Prock went 363 in the final qualifying session to take the pole away going into final eliminations. And remember, Austin Prock is your defending event champion here in Pomona. But the story is about the championship contenders. So let's now take a look at the Top Fuel ladder heading into final eliminations here today. Like you see, all the drivers in yellow have a chance at winning the championship here today. Austin Prock will take on Ron August Jr. in first round. Justin Ashley and Brittany Forrest. That is a monster matchup, no pun intended, in the first round of Top Fuel Eliminator. Mike Salinas, Josh Hart. As we all know, Josh Hart has been killing it on the reaction times here this season. Doug Coletta versus Dan Mercier. Steve Torrance, Spencer Hyde. Billy Torrance, Sean Langdon, Antron Brown, Clay Milliken, and Leah Pruitt will try to keep her championship hopes alive going up against Tony Schumacher in round number one. Dave, some interesting matchups here in Top Fuel Eliminator.
Well, and it really is. As we look at the way that this ladder could potentially played out, I think that you have to tip your cap to the Torrance team. They did exactly what they needed to do, and they set themselves up for a potential round two matchup, which Team Motor's probably not going to be in play, right? I wouldn't think so.
Oh, they'll be in play.
Wink, wink.
They'll be in play.
So really right now, all of the Team Coletta focus should be on Sean Langdon's car and getting Billy on the trailer first round, because they need Sean Langdon to get to round two and take out Steve Torrance. Steve Torrance's path to championship victory is very, very simple. All he's got to do is win the race. Unless Doug Coletta is out early on the other side, then he just needs to make it to the finals. If he makes it to the finals against anybody other than Doug Coletta, he's the champ. Doug Coletta's path to victory is a little bit tougher. If all other contenders are out, he just has to make the final himself. But if he's facing Leah in the finals, it could be a head-to-head matchup between Doug Coletta and Leah Pruitt in the final round for the championship. It could be a head-to-head matchup between Steve Torrance and Doug Coletta in the final round for the championship. Leah, her goal is the same: win the race. If you win the race, she'll have taken out Steve Torrance in the semis to get there, and if she wins the race, she's the champ. So those three drivers, their path to victory is very clear. You want the championship, win the race. Mike Salinas and Justin Ashley, they really need some help. Steve Torrance needs to go out, and Doug Coletta needs to go out by round two. And if they don't, they're going to be in trouble. And Mike Salinas can kind of help himself in that situation. As we saw, Mike Salinas and Doug Coletta could be a monster round number two matchup on that side of the ladder. So the stage is set. The fields are set. The paths to victory are set, and I can't wait to see how it plays out.
And just for everybody at home, Steve Torrance comes in as the points leader. Doug Coletta has to go one round further than Doug Coletta to win the championship. Leah Pruitt has to go 2 rounds further than Steve Torrance and Doug Coletta to win the championship. And for Mike Salinas and Justin Ashley, they need Doug Coletta and Steve Torrance to either go out round one or round two and get to the final round, or win the race to win the championship here in Top Fuel Eliminator. And Dave, like we all know, last year, there was about 5 guys who went into Sunday with a chance at the championship in 2022. And it was basically done after round number 1 when Brittany Forrest won the championship. And how cool is that one of the drivers she was facing for that championship last year, Justin Ashley, and they will race in round number 1 here today. That is huge.
That is huge. And that is huge, not only for Justin, he's got a championship on the line. Brittany, obviously not in championship contention, is not going to defend this year, but is trying to go through and not be winless on the season, which is amazing that we got all the way to the World Finals here in Pomona, the In-N-Out Burger World Finals, and Brittany does not have a win to in her championship defense season.
And, I don't want to, build up any drama. Well, we got to build up the drama because it's for a championship. But we always talk about when Alan Johnson left Mike Salinas, a little bit of animosity there, that potential matchup later in the day between Mike Salinas and Doug Coletta. I bet you, Mike Salinas, if a championship is out of his grasp, he wouldn't mind spoiling it for Doug Coletta and Alan Johnson later on in the day.
No, I don't think that I don't think there would be any love lost there. There's a lot of monster matchups in that, and there's a lot of behind the scenes, and there's a lot of moving around and shifting around and personal vendettas that could potentially be from the past, but I don't think a lot of them are really looking at that. I think that they're all focused on the goal at hand. Everybody that's in this race wants to win this race. It is a 16-car stacked field, and I don't mean to automatically assure Steve Torrance or Billy Torrance into the second round because, like I say, Sean Langdon, he could step up, he can cut a light, they could put a tune-up in that car, and even making his debut this weekend, Spencer Hyde, he's running good. Ron August, we saw last year, you just got to get down the track. We saw it to Winter Nationals. I mean, Ron August has just as much a chance in this field. Clay Milliken, Josh Hart, Dan Mercier with a 371 in qualifying. I mean, all these guys are legitimate, round win possibilities, and you can't really take anything away from any of them or give any guaranteed round win victory to any of the drivers, whether it's a championship contender or just anybody else in the field. The field is stacked. It's one of the best of the year. And they saved the best for last. Oh, looks like Darren is frozen and falling asleep here on his connection side of things. So that's basically how Top Fuel plays out. It looks like the winner in qualifying for Top Fuel is basically Doug Coletta. He picked up 16 points. He did what he had to do. Steve Torrance and Mike Delines both had 13 points in qualifying. Leah Pruitt only picked up 8, did not get the round that she needed. And Justin Ashley only picked up 7. But he did prevent himself from getting more than 90 behind, which would have put him even further back. So Top Fuel going into today's eliminations is going to be epic. And the other Nitro class that has huge championship implications, Funny Car. And we'll take a quick look at the Funny Car highlights here in qualifying. Going back to Friday night, Matt Hagan and Bob Tasca rounded out qualifying, and they both ran, surprisingly, their best runs of the weekend on this particular pass. Matt Hagan, 386.9, 328.46, which at the time was number one position. And right next to him, Bob Tasca with a 388 flat, 336.99, almost 337 miles an hour, put him at the time third. Then we fast forward to Q4, Saturday night. Robert Height, Bob Tasca, everybody, it's throws down session, it's throwdown time, and Height delivers 384.4, flash of flame, 331.61, goes to the number one spot. Bob Tasca strikes the tires. Very, very surprising, but everybody was going for it. Matt Hagan had a little bit of a fireball too in Q4 as well, and we'll take a look now at how Funny Car qualifying laid out. Robert Height had a monster Saturday. After getting no bonus points on Friday, he ended up sweeping the day on Saturday, low of both sessions in the heat, which was very impressive in Q3, and then taking the number one spot in Q4, puts himself right back into the hunt. He actually has picked up a little bit, so he goes into race day now. Let's see here. He actually moves into race day into second place over Bob Tasca, just 12 behind. Tasca drops to 17 behind. Very, very interesting that Robert Height and Matt Hagan end up on the same side of the ladder because that could be a monumental semifinal matchup. Chad Green and J.R. Todd look to play spoiler against potentially Robert Height or Jeff Deal in the second round. Matt Hagan, Alex Laughlin, Paul Lee, who has had an amazingly resurgent weekend, comes up against Blake Alexander. John Force, who stunned everybody with a 386 rocket run to go to the number 2 spot and was number 1 until Robert's 384 on Saturday night against Terry Haddock. Ron Capps and Tim Wilkerson could set up a potential monster matchup against John Force in round 2. Cruz Pedregon and Bobby Bodie, and then Bob Tasca with Steven Densham. And now Tasca's all alone on his side of the ladder, technically as far as championship contenders go, but Cruz Pedregon has been resurgent this weekend. Ron Capps has been running good. Tim Wilkerson has been running good. John Force, it's not I wouldn't say the easy side of the ladder. He just doesn't have championship contenders on that side of the ladder. But everybody's path to victory in Funny Car, very, very, very simple. You just got to go one round further than the other drivers because they're all within a round. So you only have to advance one further than your closest competitor. Or if you wanted to basically seal the deal for yourself, win the race. If you win the race, Matt Hagan, Robert Height, or Bob Tasca will automatically lock out everybody else. They'll hoist the Wally as well as the championship trophy here at the end of the day in Funny Car. Oh, it looks like we've got Darren back. Oh, welcome back, Darren.
Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Am I good?
Yeah, we can hear and see you now. Yep, you are back.
Okay. Great job, Dave. You know, obviously big time battle in Nitro Funny Car, just like in Top Fuel Eliminator. But I gotta give a shout out to Robert Height, though. Robert Height was in jeopardy of losing a round after their performance on Friday qualifying, but came back with low ET of both qualifying sessions on Saturday with a grade 388 in that third qualifying session, and then broke everybody's back in the final qualifying session with that great 384. So shout out to Robert Height. He is definitely in this championship here on Sunday morning. Yeah,
100%. And that was monster to pick up all the points that he could on Saturday, low of both sessions and take the pole. Who do you think that puts? Do you think that puts him still in the favorite role? Because to me, the fact that in Q3 he went low with that 388 and just kind of crushed him in the heat, that was a big run. That was a big run going into today's potential warmer racetrack conditions.
No, that was a real statement run by Robert Height, Jimmy Prock, and the whole Auto Club team. I'll tell you what, you know, it's going to be a great day for all three championship contenders, but Robert Height has always run great here at In-N-Out Burger Pomona Drag Strip. You know, hometown race for him. I think he is the favorite going into Sunday's final eliminations.
Yeah, I think it's hard to bet against him. But again, like I said, you want it, you just got to go out there and win it. So everybody's still in it. It's going to be an epic race day. Three contenders and 13 spoilers. And it's, you know, can't wait for this one to play out.
For sure.
The only other championship battle that we're going to crown a champion today, which is kind of a foregone conclusion, is in Pro Stock. And Greg Anderson did pretty much everything he could to spoil Erica's parade in qualifying. He ended up being low of Friday night Q4, as well as lowering the number one position on Saturday night. This was his Friday run, 6:49.5. He did eventually on Saturday night go 6:49.2 to solidify at 211.30, low ET, and not top speed of the meet. Derek Kramer at 211.49 is currently top speed of the meet, but Greg Anderson is going into race day, number one qualifier. As we take a look here at the Pro Stock ladder, that'll line him up against Mason McGahey, Bo Butner against Camry Caruso, Troy Coughlin Jr. against Fernando Quadra Jr. in the Battle of the Juniors, Aaron Stanfield and Derek Kramer, Kyle Koretsky and Christian Quadra, Matt Hartford and Dallas Glenn, Eric Enders and Fernando Quadra will be for the championship in the first round, and then Jed Coughlin Jr. and Jerry Tucker. For Greg Anderson, it is pole number 124 in his career, and that puts him only 14 behind Warren Johnson for the most all-time in Pro Stock. Picked up 9 points in qualifying, goes into race day 105 down. It is also the second quickest field ever in Pro Stock history, second only to Dallas just last month, as well as the closest field in this particular season with a field spread from 1st to 16th of only 48 thousandths of a second. It is anybody's race day today, and it's going to be interesting to see the way that it plays out. I would be hard-pressed to think that Erica loses first round, but we've seen stranger things happen. I mean, you only got to go back to Gainesville at the start of the season when they had issues with the car not starting. You could break something on the burnout, a rare red light for her. There's anything that could happen that could put it in Greg's favor, but at this point, it would really take a miracle for anybody other than Erica Enders to be hoisting the championship trophy here tonight.
And you got to give Greg some credit. Obviously, qualifying number one, low ET with that great 6:49, and making, you know, obviously delaying the celebration for Erica Enders a full day. You know, like you mentioned, Erica Enders had to get it over 120 to clinch it in qualifying, but Greg delayed that and made Erica have to win a championship in round number one here today, putting a little pressure, but I believe she will be her 6-time champion by the end of the day here today here in Pomona.
And like you mentioned before, numerous times as we've led up to this, tying one of our personal favorites, Warren Johnson,
The
as a
professor.
6-time Pro Stock champ.
That's awesome.
And the last category, obviously Pro Stock Motorcycle, they did end up crowning a championship in qualifying. However, qualifying was marred by this very scary incident here. Kelly Klontz in the far or left lane made a beautiful pass, goes through the finish line. Everything seems to be okay. All of a sudden, just like Angie Smith back in St. Louis, it starts to go down, possibly a front brake lockup. The bike spits her off to the side. And that was the scary moment there when the bike bounced back off the wall and ended up coming back and hitting Kelly and basically bounced her head and helmet off the backside of the bike. Kelly has been checked out and released, thankfully is okay, and will be back at the track today. But moving into the championship celebration, it was a lock going in. All Gage really had to do was just show up, get tech points, just get teched in. But instead, he comes out in Q4 and goes 666 with a 1 at 203.80 miles an hour to take the top spot, just really solidifying everything that they've worked for this year. He ends up getting off the motorcycle at the top end, gets the championship trophy, and then there's his buddy and teammate Eddie Krawick with the big Gage Herrera head showing off. Congratulations to Gage. He leads into race day number 1 against Blaine Hale, Ellie Tonglet against Jerry Savoy. Kelly Klontz and Angie Smith is a very interesting first-round matchup. Kelly is obviously not going to be on the bike. Angie Smith made a heroic effort in qualifying to get on in 2 of the 4 sessions to run a 7.0, an early shutoff pass, and then a 6.90 to get herself into the field. And not only does she do that, but if she gets on the bike this morning and just takes the tree, well, she gets a round win in her quest to keep herself in the top 10 in points, which is something that all of us thought was unimaginable when she came off the bike at the end of the track at St. Louis. Steve Johnson and Ryan Ayler. Then you've got Hector Arana Jr. leading off the other side against California Katie Justice. Gianna Evaristo, who ran a career best in qualifying, ends up against Matt Smith, Eddie Krawick, and Chris Bostic in the first round, as Eddie still has one last shot this season to pick up career win number 50, and Mark Ingerson and John Hall rounds out that side of the ladder. But what else can you say about Gage Herrera? World Championship. He now has the 9 of the top 10 quickest runs in Pro Stock motorcycle history. In 15 races this year, he has 14 number 1 qualifiers. That is definitely a record. Only Hector Arana Jr. taking the number 1 spot at the Mile High Nationals prevented him from sweeping number 1 all the season. It is also his 9th number 1 in a row based on the way that it fell, and it is 1 short of the record of 10, which was set by Matt Hines back in 1999. So we'll look and see how the next qualifying session at Gainesville plays out to start 2024 to see if he could tie and break that record going into that season. But what a season it has been for Gage Herrera, the Mission Foods, Vance and Hines, all new Suzuki paint scheme that was debuted here this weekend as well with the Hayabusa on there. And it looks like we've got Darren back again, who is having all kind of connection problems as they are just filling the joint up here at Pomona, man. Everybody, the bandwidth has got to be terrible out there, it looks like, huh, Darren?
Can you hear me okay? Can you see me?
Oh, yeah, you're there.
Okay, I can't see you. Like, it's like super delayed on my end. So, hey.
Okay.
But here, it's the final show of the year, final NHRA Today of the year. We're just going to send it. We have one of the biggest shows we ever had, over 160 live viewers here this morning. So really do appreciate it. But congratulations, like you said, to Gage Herrera, a dominating season, 10 wins in 14 races so far this season, 14 number 1 qualifiers, 9 in a row, laid down that track record, 666 with the 1 last night, tied for the 6th quickest pass in history. He holds 9 of the 10 quickest passes in the class. I mean, just what a great deal, and actually has something on the line here today. Can break the record for the most wins in a single season in the Pro Stock motorcycle history with 11 if he can get the job done here today. So even though Gage Herrera has won the championship, still some history on the line here today here on Sunday. Yeah,
and it's going to be, like I say, the Vance and Hines team. It'd be interesting to see, like we said, Eddie Krawick going for win number 50, Gage going for history. Everybody, again, it's the last race of the year. You got nothing to lose. You just go out there and go for it. And everybody wants to take home that last Wally of 2023 before our winter break begins. And it's going to be a long time until Gainesville back next March. So you definitely want to go out on a high note.
Well, Dave, we got about 4 minutes before we have to get off the air because, like I said, we're about T-minus 2.5 hours before we kick off the first pair of Top Fuel Eliminator here at Pomona. Let's put ourselves on the spot right here. Who's our championship picks in Top Fuel and Funny Car? You up first, man. Who gets it done?
I tell you, I was really the other night when we talked about it, I was really confident that we'd have a TSR double up. I figured we'd have Leah and Hagen. After seeing how qualifying has played out and how things have gone, it's hard not to tip the nod Steve Torrance's favor. But the way that the ladder plays out, Leah could still beat Steve in the semis and win the race in the championship. So I'm still sticking with the TSR double up. Leah Pruitt, Matt Hagen, your 2023 Nitro NHRA champions.
All right, well, I'll tell you this. 1 year ago, Robert Hight had a career year, 8 wins in a season in 12 final rounds. Had the points lead coming into this race, the final race of the season, end up losing it by just 3 points. Remember, he was standing on the starting line when Ron Capps clinched the championship, could do nothing about it. Fell just 3 shorts of winning his 4th world title and tying Kenny Bernstein and Don the Snake Perdome. Well, I'll tell you what, 1 year later, after that clutch performance he had in Las Vegas, low ET of every qualifying session, low of every round in eliminations, won the race, got himself back into championship contention. Remember, had a chance of losing around in qualifying after their performance on Friday, but was clutch on Saturday. 388 in Q3, 384. Broke everybody's back in Q4. Robert Hight, 1 year later, gets his redemption and picks up his 4th Funny Car World Championship. Like I said, tying the legendary Kenny Bernstein and Don the Snake Perdome. Robert Hight, hometown boy, gets it done here at Nitro Funny Car. And in Top Fuel Eliminator, 17 years ago on this day, on November 12th, 2006, Doug Coletta lost the championship at the expense of Alan Johnson and Tony Schumacher with arguably the greatest pass in NHRA history, the run. 17 years later, on this very same day, November 12th, 2023, Doug Coletta gets the championship with Alan Johnson by his side. Doug Coletta and Robert Hight will be our Nitro champions here in 2023.
Well, there you have it.
Hey, I'm all spitting everything. I'm excited.
I can tell that. Hey, everybody's got somebody to cheer for. Everybody's got a favorite today. It's hard to. I mean, these are just our picks, but I'll be happy for whoever wins it. Congratulations! It was a hard-fought battle all year long, and it's going to be. I can't wait till tonight to see who's hoisting those championship trophies and break it all down again on inside the NHRA later on this evening.
Like you mentioned, everybody in this championship battle is very deserving of it, whether it's Leah Pruitt, whether it's Steve Torrance, whereas Doug Coletta, Matt Hagen, Bob Tasker III, Robert Hight, everybody in these championship battles have had great seasons and are very deserving of these titles here today. And like Dave just mentioned, if you guys like this show, make sure to like this show and share this show. But also, you can join us tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 o'clock Pacific. We are breaking down the entire event inside the NHRA, the final show of the season, streaming live on Competition Plus, YouTube and Facebook, American Hot Rod Entertainment, YouTube and Facebook, Dave W's YouTube, and Monday Morning Racers Facebook. We're going everywhere. Final show of the season. So make sure to come back here, tune in, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. We break down the In-N-Out Burger Pomona NHRA World Finals. Before I get out of here, though, a little quick news. Virginia Motorsports Park announced that they're returning to the NHRA schedule in 2024. Cruz Petragon and Snap-on signed a 3-year extension, so Snap-on will be on that team for 3 more years. And Sean Reed makes his return to Top Fuel Racing full-time in 2024. Thank you guys all for tuning into this special NHRA today here on Inside the NHRA, and we'll see you guys tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time for the final show of the year inside the NHRA. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the show. It's going to be a great championship battle. We'll see you guys later tonight. Good day. Dave, my mic don't work, so you have to end the show. I mean, my mouse don't work, so send us home. Yeah, send us home.
Good race day, everybody. See you tonight.